Hello, we are SimGen Studios, and this is our presentation on our agricultural drone game project. So the content we will be going over within our presentation is about the team, client, and our game concept, including our levels and difficulties, overview, completion, and learning objectives for our levels. In addition, we will cover the art styles that we are going for and how we will measure success of our project as a whole, in addition to how we will divide up the work or our charter.
So now I'm going to talk about our team structure. So for artists, we have Ace, Jenna, and Naya. Ace will mainly in charge for the character design, character modeling, and Jenna will be the environment modeler and environment artist, and Anaya will be the prop artist, which will be like drone modeling, something like that. And for developer, we have Patrick and Justin, and they will mainly just do the entire game develop and design stuff. And for Nushka, they are the project management and designer. They will help out like to see if the artist need help or if the developer needs help. So they will basically just be around like helping out.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the client. Our client is Professor Dharmendra Saraswat from Agriculture and Biological Engineering. They wanted us to create a simulation type game which was meant to spread awareness and interest in agriculture technologies like drones. It was mainly meant for high schoolers and middle schoolers, which meant we had to spend a considerable time this semester to identify what kind of games actually work for this age group. Game it will also be one of the first educational simulation games for agriculture technologies, especially drone games meant for agriculture. We are also hoping to get exposure from high schools in West Lafayette at the end of this project, which would be in spring. We will finish out our game by creating a demo by the end of spring semester. Coming to the game concept, this is going to be a narrative-based open world game. There will be a positive correlation between learning objectives and the progression of the game itself. The reason that we made this a narrative-based open world was to add learning modules along with the player feeling like they're exploring a new world. In this game, they will be learning multitasking and prioritization through the balance of drone activities, hardware, different farming techniques, and weather. They will also be engaging in problem solving, like identifying disease plants, optimizing crop yields, and managing resources effectively. These learning modules are outlined by non playable character objective missions, where the player will be interacting with them and identifying what task they have to go and do. This game is also meant to create an environmental awareness about the impact of agriculture and how drones can contribute to sustainable farming practices.
Moving on to the game levels, there will be multiple levels with varying difficulty, but every single level will have two fly-throughs. The first fly-through will capture an image of the entire farm so that the problem can be identified, and the path the drone takes for this depends on the camera quality. The second fly-through determines the drop path, and this is where the player will manually drop the appropriate item, which may be water or fertilizer, which once again depends on the level difficulty, and drop these onto the crops. The flight path depends on a variety of factors, such as the terrain and the item dropped. For the tutorial level, the player will learn the drone controls as well as the level objectives, which includes the objectives of the first and second fly-throughs. All levels will have a marker on the ground that indicates the expected path the drone should take, and these will act as a guide so that the player isn't going into the level completely blind. The first fly-through, which is the image capture, only has two completion states, so it's either complete or incomplete, and you must complete this first fly-through before you can move on to the second fly-through. The second fly-through has four states. It can either be incomplete, or have 3 different tiers of completion. You need to achieve at least 70% completion in order to pass the level and receive the bronze medal. Additionally, if you get at least 70% completion on your very first try of the second fly through, you get an additional medal for completing it on your first attempt.
Let's go over the difficulty progression within our game. Rather than ramping up the base difficulty of the levels, we are going to provide the users with different objectives as to increase what they learn in their experience of the game, and that in itself will provide more of a challenge because they'll have to recall previous lessons in order to work through the current level. Objectives can include things like watering, applying pesticides, and observing special plants such as diseased or dead plants in order to maintain the proper status of the farm that they're working on. The levels can also increase in difficulty through the changes in how the maps are laid out. So they will feature more varied terrain in terms of the layout of the map, not having it be as basic as just a plain field, but having different levels of elevation and also being larger in size. This will all factor into the difficulty because the base drone might not be enough for all of the levels, so they will have to utilize the drone upgrades and learn about the capabilities of the drone as they progress through the game. They will need to upgrade their drone's battery, their load, basically the amount of weight and capacity that they have to carry out other items, and then their camera quality in order to enhance their resolution and get a better idea of the farms that they're looking at.
For our game, we have some art ideas. We mainly wanted to use warm color tones such as reds, oranges, and yellows. We also wanted everything to be relatively low poly, so our characters will also follow that same theme. Our title screen will look similar to the one posted. We kind of liked the simplicity of it and also how they use the same color tones that we wanted for our game. And then we also have our drone upgrade screen, which we'll be using for player UI as they get better drones for the game.
So now I'm going to talk about the measure of success. So two main measure of success we are looking at for our beta testing is first, engagement. If the user have fun enough and wanted to continue playing this game. So you measure this by how many level they complete, and if they complete the higher level, it will indicate the higher success. And the second one is the educational, which means if the user are learning what the level aims to teach. So we will measure this by the level of accuracy and completion given to the user at the end of the level. So if they got higher grades, it will indicate the higher success of our game.
So the last part of this presentation would be timeline and charter. For this, we have decided deadlines for alpha, beta, and a beta testing day. For alpha, we are planning to finish it by February 26th, that is 6 weeks into the semester, excluding the syllabus week. For beta, it is March 25, which would be 4 weeks after alpha, and the beta test should start by April 8th. The reason there is a 2-week gap between beta and beta testing is so that if we have any delays, that could be accommodated within this time. The demo should have completed by April 22nd. For the charter, we have decided tasks that need to be done by each individual in the team. For example, I, Anushka, would be mainly working on the character art along with Ace. Ace would be working on 2D art, I will be working on 3D art at this point, and by beta, we are planning to finish all of these animated characters. For the rest of our team members, Naya would be working on the drone models, considering she is the prop artist for our team, and would also be working on our UI assets on the sidelines. All the work in progress objects should have been finished by beta. Jenna will be working on most of the environment art, and that includes she would have completed foliage, crops by this point. She would be working on farm structure and buildings of the environment. Justin and Patrick would be mostly working together with the development. So they would be working by alpha, they will be working on the white box level, and the gameplay for the first level will be finished by this point. By the end, we will have a total of 3 levels, and a level design would be completely done.
Thank you for listening to our presentations, and if there are any questions, please let us know.